the propaganda of what food industry was forever.
Okay.
Like the idea that eggs are bad or steak is bad and fat is just bad across the board.
Conspiracy then.
Low fat, non-fat. Like that's
They lied about all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they can push all that sugar. They never said sugar was bad.
Yeah.
And then they put Cheerios above nutrient content above steak. And like, how am I supposed to take you guys seriously?
Yeah.
Once you put Cheerios above eggs, like, bro.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Born to Tempt podcast with the Miller Brothers. I'm Ricky, and I'm glad to be here with my older brother, Josh.
How's it going, everyone? Today we have a special guest, local business owner, entrepreneur, and fellow CrossFit enthusiast, Andrew Pro with GoodLifeChef.com. Check it out.
I got better right in the middle, right between you guys. Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate the time
Sensory
you're coming
overload right now, dude.
A lot going on with the rap.
And Jordan, see my guy right here in his element, man.
Yeah.
And we finally got a mic in front of him.
Young
now,
Jordan
too.
over there.
Yeah. JB.
It took us a minute to finally get
Syllabus. How I sound?
to convince him to put a mic in front of himself, just so he can chime in whenever we do ask a certain question or something. He would just kind of shout out. Now he finally put the mic over there, and he's like, "It's not going to be on." I'm like, "That's not supposed to be on. Only when we ask a question." Soon enough, we'll get the.
We need the monitor on the wall so we can have him pull stuff up when we're getting into conspiracies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know about that. I know all of them.
Well, as soon as we do that, the very first
Yeah, we
episode
have
will be Omar.
Yeah, me and Omar getting that all day. I like to stir the pot too when there's other people involved.
When Omar was on for the first time, we got caught up in already what we were all talking about, and just we never got to that point. But it was like one of those things we always had in our back pocket that if we really wanted to stir a conversation, just start going at like flat Earth. Start with that and just stay for another hour and a half conversation.
Well, they all boil down. They all boil down to the shape of this place. I think.
What?
I think NASA is like the biggest conspiracy. I think all of them. I think NASA's at the top, and all of them come down.
So you say Elon's up there too, then?
Oh yeah, I think it's $1 trillion tax hoax.
Ooh.
All right, hold on. Elaborate. Go further.
Oh, so I think. So if you think about when it was created, when NASA was created in space, I think SpaceX is real.
Yeah.
Space isn't real.
Space isn't real.
I don't think space is real.
Really? So what when we get to the point where Elon can send anyone up whenever he wants? Are you hopping on?
He hasn't.
You don't think he sent anyone up?
He's never sent anyone up. He hits the firmament.
Oh.
It always goes that way. And that trail, you always see everyone's like, oh, what's that trail? It looks like water behind it.
All right. So
It's scraping something.
all right. So what we're doing then, we're setting up a 4-person. It's going to be you, Omar, and
No, what you gotta do is get someone that does it. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. You're
well,
on the
no,
other
and then
side.
I'm going to,
Okay,
and then
yeah.
I'm going to do my own type of research and then I'll be a little bit more further into it, and then we'll have some fun.
Well, it's all theory.
Yeah.
It's all just fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, who was it? I was just listening to somebody the other day. Oh, man. It was one of the podcasts I listened to, so it's a short list.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oh, actually, it was...
Well, that's smart. Yeah.
Was it PBD had a Tesla or a NASA astronaut that just went up with one of the Tesla missions. He was part of the crew for when Tesla or SpaceX sent somebody up, and he was talking about how they just had a group of people go to Antarctica. That there was like half of the group was flat earthers and half of them were globers.
Oh, that was on Rogan.
Was it on Rogan?
With Chris Williamson. It was
Yeah,
Rogan. I just listened to it.
Oh.
I'm in the middle of listening to that
That's
one.
all tied in, right? The Antarctica Treaty.
Yeah.
Antarctica Treaty, JFK, and then the NASA was all created and done all.
Well, this is the problem is like clearly we've been lied to about
what I'm
some
saying.
things. So then it's like it's hard to not deny all of
The
the
lies.
Yeah.
Well, I started thinking about it during the pandemic. So when the pandemic was happening,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, they're lying about this. Like, what else? And I start. You're sitting at home, right?
Yeah.
For years, you have a lot of time to think of.
Yeah.
And you're day drinking all day.
So my first experience with like actually
So
I
question
had
it.
2 from the military that are like very vivid to me on like really breaking, well, maybe 3. My trust in the media and them just being a part of something where I saw what was really happening and then I saw the media version of it. And it was like, I was in Iraq pulling into Kuwait in 2011. We were one of the last units to cross down into Kuwait. And the 18th of December, 2011 was our official last day in Iraq from 2003 until then. And on the 19th, all of Baghdad exploded all over the place. The Iraqi government that day put an arrest warrant out for like the vice president of the country, who was the highest ranking of the minority group out of the Sunni and Shia in Iraq. And like the media back home, which we could watch, the CNN, all that stuff, they basically didn't cover it at all. And we're sitting in Kuwait looking at Stars and Stripes and media that we're getting over there showing that Iraq, day one that we pulled out, went to hell. And like the media back home just like didn't cover it.
Yeah.
And then the second time I saw something like that, actually, no, this would have, the timeline wise, this would have been
this
first.
is not what I'm like.
Yeah. So I was at Fort Hood during the Fort Hood shooting in 2009. That was the first time I really saw it. The media coverage, the national media coverage of that as it was happening. Like I'm on Fort Hood, locked down. We're in the barracks, kind of. The news is telling us there's multiple shooters all over base. There was a shooting at the PX. There was all this crazy stuff happening. And then it turns out like none of that initial coverage for the first 24, 48 hours was even close to accurate. But they were putting it out there like it was fact. And then they never like came out and like really retracted any of it. No. It's just, that's what it was. And I guess the first thing would be just going into Iraq in the first place, right? Weapons of mass destruction, that whole thing.
When they got the whole country, bunch of young men riled up from 9/11. And
and it's
why
like,
wouldn't you be?
Now they can't do that shit to us anymore because of social media and X and stuff like that. It's a lot harder, I think, to pull the wool over our eyes, especially after COVID. But you think about it, Vietnam was the same thing. Gulf of Tonkin was complete fabrication to get us into war, to make the military industrial complex a bunch of money. Yeah. Iraq's the same thing. When we pull out, the narrative that the American people are given is totally different than what was actually happening on the ground. COVID. I mean, the list is long of the government and the media losing our trust.
I know. I feel
so then it's like every possible conspiracy is believable now because of that.
Yeah, and it's always been right. I love this country. I'm born on the 4th of July, so I love this country.
Yeah.
So people think that I'm all against it from all these conspiracies, but it's like quite the opposite.
Yeah. We're just actually questioning stuff now because you see people that are like living 1984 and just like they're okay with changing the definition of words and just go along with everything no matter what's said on the media.
And then
it's like, all right, guys, we got to think a little bit about this.
And then they'll also put the blanket statement on. If you're conspiracy theorists, you're just someone who's not believing people that have read the books and done this, and they'll group everyone together. It's like that is a pretty broad group that you're going to jam all that together. When if you point out multiple things that were said that weren't true, and now they're 100% true. Like, so those people were full of shit at the time, and now they're just not going to say nothing about it. Like, you're just not going to acknowledge that. I mean, the Biden laptop, like, all that stuff. I mean, from the pandemic, COVID, all of it, like the lab leak theory. If you mentioned that in late 2000 or late 2020, you were pretty much looked at as anti-human. Like, how dare you mention that? Like, it came from this, and how they're like, no, it probably came from a lab. And it's like, people have been saying this since the beginning. You called them all crazy. You try to shut them out from every means of them making money and push them out of social media. And they were 100% right.
Yeah.
100% right.
Well, they just had such an absolute control on the narrative for so long. I don't think they realized how powerful the internet and social media got. Well, I mean, they did because they clearly tried censoring the internet.
Oh, it's
over
now. Everyone's all about like this platform. People get their news from platforms like this.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, now it's you pick and choose which independent media you're going to follow, and then like how it should be, you listen to it, and then you pick the things out, and then you make your own damn mind up.
Critical thinking.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like now the mainstream was like that was all we had because we couldn't connect. Now that we can all connect, mainstream media is trying to now piggyback off of the independent because how they get views now is just by talking shit about independent media and pointing out certain things that it's just like. You're not even trying to actually put news out there now. Yeah. And it's
pretty weird being called a Nazi when you're brown. It's strange. It's like that's racist. Bro, just think about it for a second.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
then that's even ties back to NASA. Like, who all did we bring over to help start NASA? A bunch of Nazis.
A bunch of Nazis.
A bunch of Nazis.
And that's a non-bipartisanship hoax, tax hoax. I think they're like, we should keep that one. We should keep the NASA tax hoax. each country has one. Each country. So you're telling me we have an international space station that we share with two of our biggest enemies, Russia and China. We share it. But we hate each other on Earth to the point where we would kill each other if we had to. But we share the most important piece of space technology up there. We share it. That's kind of strange.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Well, the space one's crazy to me because I think space is real from what I've seen, but I do think we've been lied to about stuff in space. Like, I do think there's actually probably some credibility to the idea that we might have faked the moon landing because if you go back and put it in the context of the time, there wasn't the internet. There wasn't even, when they live broadcast it happening, there wasn't a VHS at home that people could record it and look at it. So I think you totally could get away with it back then and not even conceive of the idea of the internet becoming a thing. And you're in the middle of the Cold War where the whole thing is we're going to beat the Russians. And if you could fake it good enough through video, and not everybody needs to be in on it. That's the one thing that always drives me crazy. Even when Rogan talks about it, is like you couldn't get that many people to conspire and not tell on it. I would think if you're going to do it, the majority of the people are building rockets. They're sending a mission to the moon. They don't know any different.
That's real.
You only need maybe the top 10 people. You need the astronauts that are not actually going anywhere, which all interviews with them ever since those missions have been awkward. And you go back and you look at some of the interviews of some of those guys and they don't look very excited to be talking about it.
Buzz Aldrin, doesn't he like hit people?
Well, whatever. But like, there's a lot of post them going to the moon where they don't want to talk about it a lot. When they do, it's kind of awkward. They would need to be in on it. And only a handful of other people would be. You could fake it to everybody else involved.
Yeah, no doubt. That's pockets, right? The stock, people are getting paid off these rockets being built.
Well, that's where the money is going in there for sure. And it's coming out and being spent. And there's a bunch of contractors and companies that are in bed with the military industrial complex that are getting paid. So there is money going to very, very powerful people throughout the whole process. So that's what makes me believe they could have faked that. But like, I think the technology that came out of it, the fact that we have satellites and all of that stuff ended up being worth it. But then also the fact, why haven't we been back?
That's what gets me. Our technology has improved
so like it's insane,
ridiculous.
That's a good part of it.
Ridiculous, and they tell me that why? So why wouldn't he try to go back then? Like it's not a money. Like,
and can't.
Well, here's the thing. So here's where I'm caught up. Is I think this will never be settled, even if Elon in 2 years, like he's planning on, lands on the moon with people. You're always gonna. Now we're at a point where post the Avengers, CGI, like the ability to fake any AI video.
Precisely.
We're past the point of being able to see a video and go, oh, that's 100% real for sure, no matter what. So people that want to believe that it's fake, no matter what, are not going to be able to be proven that it's not fake, even with HD video of SpaceX and NASA astronauts landing on a Tesla rocket on the moon. You're still going to have people that don't believe it. Like, so it's like
interstellar gravity. Those things were amazing. That was with $100 million budget. Can you imagine $100 billion budget?
Well, and they don't even need that much of a budget anymore because the cost to make that type of footage is getting cheaper and cheaper. That's the other thing about the moon landing that like has me kind of convinced it was faked.
Oh, it's for sure faked.
The one thing that we leaped forward in technology wise since then has been our ability to create fake videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we haven't been back to the moon.
Yeah.
So if we are going to put a bunch of money into something that you had to fake something back then that wasn't technologically capable with the current technology back then, that would have been a top secret government project, figuring out how to fake the video good enough that you could broadcast it live and nobody could tell. And what have we progressed on since then, which helps control the narrative of the world. Like the media and Hollywood controls the narrative of the world. The reason why there's such a strong reaction to the word Nazi in this country is how many movies have we had about World War II, making them the main villain of World War II, when like Stalin and the Soviets killed just as many, if not more people.
Dude, I didn't think about that.
Like,
part. That's the main villain, but there's other crazy fools.
So propaganda is what won those wars. I mean, look, the movie Enemy at the Gates is all about how the Soviets used propaganda to keep the Soviets engaged in the Battle of Stalingrad when they were just throwing bodies into the machine. Propaganda wins wars. Like propaganda got us into the Iraq War. Propaganda got us into the Vietnam War.
Well, they've been funding both sides for Since the American Revolution.
Yeah, because if you don't have
Oh, yeah.
war, you don't have bombs to drop. So
Yep,
these
you can't make them.
You can't sell them to
Can't
the
sell
government
guns,
for
can't sell
trillions of dollars.
bullets.
Well, you look at all the big corporations too. They were funding both sides.
Yeah, the banks.
No matter what, they had a winner.
Yeah.
And, like
American Pacific built the railroad tracks into Auschwitz. Like
Yeah.
Ford got an award from Hitler himself.
Follow the money is so
Like,
true, man.
That's the crazy thing. When you really get out of the history narrative you were fed in the American school system and like look into the whole story, it's like you don't learn about how bad the Soviets were in history at
So
school.
it's such a bummer too, because then you got to be like, man, America was in on it too. Dang.
At least
he-
part of us was. There was people, JP Morgan and Chase. That's another crazy one. We're going to get crazy. Look at the Chase logo.
Now what about it?
Chase Bank.
Put it up.
Oh, I wish we could pull it up.
We'll have Jordan put it up later.
I've got the app on my phone actually. Funny thing is they made it blue, but I mean,
we're all staring now.
oh,
Why not?
look at the Chase logo.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
Very similar shape, right in the middle of it.
Those
It's
lines.
not exact,
Allegedly.
Those
but
lines are. Those
but you can
lines.
put it in later.
Yeah.
That's
I
gonna
see
be-
what, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, but I mean, you go back and you look; those banks were investing in stuff that was happening in Germany right up until we finally had to enter the war. Then they said, "Oh, we're out."
Yeah.
And we didn't enter the war till the end.
Trip out.
It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
This was a good start to this one.
Oh, it's on.
Oh yeah.
We started it?
Oh yeah.
This is all for educational purposes, guys. Or entertainment. Entertainment, sorry. This is
Now
all
we
for
definitely have to have
entertainment.
Omar on.
This is all
We
for
gotta have him on
entertainment
again.
purposes.
Oh, that was gonna happen no matter what. It's just locking down time and day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah, we were gonna try to have him on, but last week but couldn't make it work. So that's how we know you through Omar and Abby and CrossFit Social City.
Yeah.
How long have you known them, and what's that connection?
So I started doing CrossFit in 2015, and then I watched Omar from afar away. Like he would be in the community. He's been doing all the same type of moving and shaking in the CrossFit world since 2010. So when I got into CrossFit, he was already in the world, and people were kind of always looking to Omar. He's always been cool, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of followed him from afar for a while before we became friends. But I think around 2016, 17, Social City and the gym I was in, Max Effort, they merged, and then I kind of was able to like get to know Omar a little bit more because we had the ability to go to both gyms, and then I started going to Social City and getting to know him. Dude's pretty cool, man. He's a pretty smart fella.
Oh, absolutely.
So being in CrossFit, that like, and being concerned with your health and like being dialed in with your fitness, is that what led you down the path you're on right now?
Yeah, so that's kind of where I was not into fitness growing up. Played a little baseball. That was my thing. But then around 2015, I was kind of like living this really toxic chef lifestyle on the strip, drinking, boozing, eating, whatever. Didn't have no idea what a healthy plate of food looked like, right? I didn't even care.
Yeah.
I had no idea what nutrition was. Zero. And then I think the turning point was I was like 28 years old. I was walking around the kitchen with my like pants unbuttoned because I didn't fit in my pants anymore. I was like, dude, something's got to change here. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And so I walked into I didn't even know what CrossFit was. I just walked into like a CrossFit gym called 702, and they were playing Taking Back Sunday. I was like, okay, this is cool. I love Taking Back Sunday. And then I just saw everyone, like the vibe, and everyone was just kind of like the slamming of the barbells. I was like, this is pretty badass. I want to try this. So I started going to that, and like first time I saw like a woman power clean 95 pounds, I thought that was like the craziest thing because I can barely lift it to my knees, right? And it kind of like pushed me to get better and be submerged into that space. So fast forward about 5 years, I'm doing it. I've been doing a lot of traveling at this point around 2017, 18. And I'm like, man, I really would love to do something on my own, because I'm a fine dining chef on the strip. Long hours, toxic hours, it's really unhealthy hours. So I was just like, there's so much more to life than me in these four walls. And so that's when I kind of started flirting with the idea of like the meal prep business. I was trying to take something that I knew and how can I solve a problem that everyone's dealing with in this world. And like the quality of person that's in a CrossFit gym kind of fits the demographic of a meal prep service because it's a luxury, right? You're kind of buying your time back. And that's what's beautiful about being in that space, because you can be 1 second talking to an owner of a window tinting company, a lawyer, a doctor, a student, and all these people are high quality people and they have disposable income to pay for a service like meal prep. So that's when I kind of started flirting with the idea. Was around 2017 and 18.
How long have you been doing it now?
2019 is when we started. I got fired from my job. 2019, I was an executive sous chef for this restaurant called Herringbone. It was a restaurant owned by Hakkasan at the Aria. And I was just a mean dude. I was just a jerk, I just kind of got... Well, I don't think I was really a jerk. I think I was just kind of getting groomed to be this, like the cliche chef that kind of laces people up and yells at them and gets them to do, like, leading through fear rather than like help or education. Okay. I was a young sous chef, so the only way I knew how to get people to do what I needed to get done was through fear, which was
climbing their ass.
Yeah, I thank God. At the time, I was like, why is this happening? When I got fired, I was like, why is this happening? Because I was involved in an HR issue where they decided to terminate me and move forward without me. And I was like, why is this happening? Like, I'm a good chef. I've been working my butt off for these people. But I think it was a blessing because I couldn't imagine treating people the way I was treating people. These are like grown men and women sacrificing 40, 50 hours of their life for this job. And life's hard enough and they're coming to work and here's this young jerk that's just going to make their life miserable for no reason other than to fill out a couple forms, and keep their station clean. Like, there's other ways I could have done it. So I think it was a beautiful thing for me to be able to... God was like, you're done, dude. There's something else for you out there. So then that was 2019. Called my wife, said, I'm not going into work Saturday. They're like, oh, they gave you the weekend off. I'm like, yeah, kind of. I'm kind of getting the weekend off. And that was a really hard conversation.
Oh, yeah.
They don't just hand out 6-figure jobs all the time, And so I was sad for about 16 hours and I woke up and I was like, I didn't like that feeling of someone having control. I was beginning to notice that. Like, I didn't like how someone had control over my destiny and my raise or my position. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to go back. Because I was so bummed because all I knew was I was a chef and I felt like, oh, I'm not a chef no more. But then when I woke up, I was like, I had this epiphany. I'm like, actually, I am. Like, they took my position away from me, but they didn't take my skills and my knowledge away from me. That no one can ever do that. So I told my wife that I'm just going to try this meal prep thing that we've been thinking about for a while, which was scary. She was like in the middle of like transitioning her job at the time. And it was like, got on the island, burnt the ships. I'm not going back type of thing. I kind of just reverse engineered how much money I needed to pay my bills. And I was like, okay, well, it was very simple math. I was like, how many meals do I need to sell a week to cover my bills? And as a chef, they don't pay you much anyway. Yeah. So I was like, I can probably pay my bills. Even if I like got a sous chef job that was less paying, I can probably do that on my own by selling 70 meals a week, right? With a little hood math, like 70 times 10 is $700. I can sell 70 meals a week for 3 months. Like, I can keep this rolling. That's kind of my mindset of it.
Just slowly built it up.
Yeah, I just was because everybody in the CrossFit gym knew that I was a chef already. So I just was like, hey, I'm doing this now. And they're like, cool. So I just needed to get 7 to 10 people to agree to buy a week's worth of meals every week. So the first week was the hardest, and then I did all in my house. I bought this like Pepsi cooler. I did everything in it, cooled everything in it, stored everything in it, packaged everything in it, put everything in it. And I just went from there every week. I just was resilient. And I didn't take no for an answer from my friends at first. I was like, you guys have to buy these meals.
Yeah. Having a community like that's huge. So what are you up to now?
So now we have a brick and mortar that's on Jones and Lake Mead. We have 16 employees, do about 1,200 meals a day.
Damn.
7 days a week. I need an 8th and 9th day. I'm so sick.
Hell yeah.
I am so sick in the head. I want to add more to the plate. I'm just
that doesn't stop, man.
Yeah, but God is good. God's been moving in the business, and I just am so grateful that, like I said, I was given another chance to build teams and treat people well, because I think that's one of the highest qualities or the biggest values in our business right now is because we're called the good life. I want my employees to have a good life.
Yeah.
So empowering them to do their job and not micromanage them, and then educate them and lead them in the right direction to buy into our vision is it's so fulfilling. It's rewarding. It feels good to get everybody on board, and you walk away and then you come back in and things are happening and people are laughing, having a good time. Things are getting done, and you don't have to micromanage people. They're with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I took with my dad growing up, working for him, he was definitely on the much heavier side of micromanaging, and he's a huge perfectionist. And it's like he'd call. I know he's done to my brother before. He would call me, hey, I need you to do this, this, and this. I'm like, I got it. By the time I get 10 minutes later, I'm back at the shop. I'm going up to the person, let them know what I need done. Oh, I just got off the phone with your dad. I'm like, I call my dad, and that's where me and my dad got into it the most. I'd call him and be like, hey, if you're just going to go above me and call someone else, fine. Just tell me that. Don't waste my time. We just spent 15, 20 minutes on the phone talking what was going to get done or what needed to get done. You didn't even give me the opportunity to follow through. You give me some wiggle room. And then when my dad had a stroke and we ended up taking over, I definitely was nowhere near as bad as my dad, but I was doing it inadvertently, just I'd always kind of just step in and help, and not realizing no, I need to let you fail, or ask for this to get done, see however it gets done. And if it's not 100% of what I would have done, if it gets done 70%, you still got the task done, and actually step back and let my team flourish. Thankfully that was the one big thing that we wanted to switch. Not to say that we had a bad culture within the company before my dad stepped away. It was just we really looked at it. It's we really need to focus on that. We really bring in the team aspect in. We have our flat glass team, our auto team. I got my manager on each side. And I tell both my managers, if I see something, that's one thing I had to kind of really make sure not to do. So if I see something going wrong, I would always just kind of point, hey, do this. Or I would try to change it right then. Instead of I finally realized after a year of running the company, I go to my manager hey, I'm not going to say anything to them. I need to stop doing that because I'm undercutting you guys. And that's the reason why things aren't getting done, is because when you guys say it, they don't believe it, or whatever it need be. If this, I'm always
second guess it too. They start second guessing themselves.
Yep. So I told them, I was all right, I'm here for you two. You tell me what you need. I'll make it happen. If I do see something, I'm just going to come talk to you. And that's if whenever I do see something that is not being done technically to our standard or our quality, I go to my managers now. I say, hey, this, and this happened. They're like, got it. And they go take care of it. And it's just perfect. That's because I trying to manage, especially as we've grown our company too. We went from, we had 5, 6, 7 people, which you can manage as one person. But as soon as we got to the point we had 14, now we think we have 18 people. You can't manage 18 people yourself.
It defeats the purpose of you having the managers.
That too.
And then you're why am I paying my managers then? I
Yep.
might as well just do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you're just going to be at a stagnant level. That's the hardest part, is letting go of the reins at first. And I did that for the first 3 years. And eventually we got to 200 or 250, 300 meals is when I was getting hard to do by myself. I would do it all by myself up until 250 to 300 meals. And then eventually I was I probably should get somebody in here to at least help me package these meals. And then I would find myself like doing it for them. I'm running around. They're kind of standing around. And then I'm coming home from work like exhausted. Like, I just paid like 4 people to help me. Why am I still coming home exhausted? It's because I'm not trusting them, and I had to learn that. And it took a while to be able to just like learn how to motivate or set expectations.
Put the expectation out of what you expect to get done, give them the standard of operations of how things should be done, and then after that, you gotta let them sink and swim. You gotta let them go out. They're gonna fail. I mean, like that was definitely a hard part for me, was letting go of the reins in that aspect. And then I can't expect them to automatically with like, all right, you have this new title. All right, you should know how to do this. It's like, no, you got to actually let them operate within that title and then help them along the way. If there's an issue, help them with the issue, or just bounce ideas off them. Well, what are you thinking of doing? Hear them out and be like, well, and then just kind of give your feedback and go back and forth. Let them come up with the plan. Like the big thing now that I tell everybody that works for us is if you think there is something that's being done wrong, doors always open. You should go talk to your managers. You can come talk to me. It's fine. But don't just come to me to bitch about something and not have a way to fix it or a change to it. Like if you're just coming to me saying like, well, I think we should, I don't think we should be doing this. Why?
Oh man, that's big.
Yeah, like
collaboration is huge because I can help your business. And that's beautiful. Like the way I think about it now is like, at first I would get like defensive, like, well, my business is fine. We're fine. I do it this way because this is the right way to do it. But now I'm like, actually, this is actually good that other people are finding holes in our business because they care.
Yep.
Like if they didn't care, they just let it, they'd see the problem. They'd be like, yeah, this is dumb, but whatever. It's not my job. But for them to actually come up to you and be like, chef, like, what do you think about this? Like, what if we did this? And
exactly.
And I think about it. I'm like, actually, that is more efficient. Let me look at the numbers. Does it fall in line with what we need to hit? And boom, it's like, that's how our businesses grow and progress. And then they get inspired and empowered to feel confident to bring more ideas to you. And then that's what's kind of happening now with the Good Life is like, I'm stepping away and I'm coming back and like things are more organized. They're putting charts up and putting things up that I didn't ask them to do, but it just makes sense. And things are being like, yeah, we put that up. It's more efficient. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I like that. I'm on board.
Yeah, as we did our entire like remodel over the past like 2 or 3 years, like as we ripped things out of the bank completely, like just repainted everything, it was like, well, how do you want it set up? And it's like, not how I want it set up. What do you guys want?
Yeah,
you guys,
trenches.
You guys are in here operating. Talk with, and I even I'll tell my auto manager, like, talk with the team, ask them, like, and you tell me what you guys want. You guys want new pegboards to go up? Awesome. Like whatever you guys feel is efficient for you. Yeah. I'm not the one installing every day now. Yeah. So whatever works for you guys, like what's your game plan? Give me, because they're more likely to buy into it if it's their plan.
Yeah.
Instead of me just telling them like, hey, you got to do this way. And it's like, well, what do you guys think we should do? Put the ball in their court. And then if they come up with something, and even if it's not exactly what you think it's going to be, let them roll with it because they're going to actually go through with it because they actually have ownership of their plan. And they're going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to execute my idea. I want to show you this is going to work. Yeah. And then they're going to execute that 10 times better than you just tell them, this is how you do this no matter what. Because it's never going to stick, or it's going to lot less likely to stick when you're just giving marching orders. Like it's, hey guys, what do you think we should do here? Bring them into it. Make them feel a part of it. Give them ownership of what they're actually doing instead of just telling them what to do.
I love it. And then it grows. It gives you bandwidth as the owners to like, all right, now I have all this room. I can trust my team to execute the vision that we have now and the orders that we have now. Now I can go out and think about new creative ways to get more clients.
Yep.
And I can trust them. I can trust them when I bring them the new business.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great, man.
No, that's probably the biggest growth that we've seen over this past year is finally having the right people in the right seats. Us, to begin with, like we sat down and actually mapped everything out, who would be responsible for each role. And when we first did it with our business mentor, it was, for me, it was just like, Ricky. I'm like, believe me, I agree. I want to let go of all this stuff because where my most, I need to be where I can best improve the business. Yeah. And I need to let those people do their thing. So I tell everyone hey, the auto manager, when it comes to bringing an extra car in, if there's a problem with a customer or anything, he's got it. Whatever he says goes. If he's got an issue with something or he needs something to be taken care of, he'll come to me. And he does. So if it's something he can't handle for some reason, or it's a project or whatever it need be, he comes to me now and says, hey, like, well, what do you think we should do here? And then he's asking me the question. I tell him, like, well, this is what I think. Well, what do you think? And then we'll sit there and actually have a conversation, come up with a game plan, and then let him go implement his game plan.
Yeah, it totally reflects on the work too.
Yep.
Like that's what I noticed in initial vibe when I walked in. I was like, place is clean. They care about this place. And then I kind of peeked my head behind where they're working on the cars, and they're having a nice conversation. They're working. Things are getting done.
Yep.
They have a pleasant. Seems like they have a pleasant attitude because you can sense that.
Yeah.
You can walk into a place and be like, "Dang, these fools do not want." You know, you can feel that, like they do not want to be here. But I walked in. Your guys are just like having a cool conversation. They're getting the stuff done. The work looks amazing, which like I'm saying, it's gonna reflect on the work and on the
product.
jobs.
Oh, absolutely. Like no one wants to go to work and not like, I don't want to be here.
Dude,
I'm
life's hard
here
enough,
because I need money.
Dude,
It's like,
then you can do whatever. You can do anything you want. You don't have to be here, man.
Yep.
And like if you're taking care of them financially, they like I think it's being fair, right? You have to prove yourself, but I think that was the hardest part with me is I knew it was right. What people were like, you pay them what? For food, you know, it's just like they're packaging food, but I'm like, it's the right thing to do if I'm asking them to come in 30, 40 hours a week. Like they have families.
Yep.
Like I have to give a little bit of the pie. You know, I can't just be taking everything just because I want to pinch a couple dollars a day. You know, it's just like, I think it's worth it to just make them feel like they're not just a number, that they're people. I think that's the key part is like,
and you can't scale without people unless you're
no doubt
created like a food software maybe, but actually something physical, right? Like the whole idea of like somebody doing something 70 or 80% of what you're capable of doing, get 100 of those people. They're doing,
right.
80 times what you could do.
And then how many of those people that I initially brought in, how many of those people can I make leaders that have been with the company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then just now we have all these people that are so in tune with my original vision that they're taking it to the next level that I had no idea this thing could go. And that's where we're kind of at right now. It's kind of like we're in a harvesting season right now. There's a past, when we first, I did everything for years and then got a chef. And it was only like 2 or 3 of us, and I still had to do wear a lot of hats. I joked around. I was like the head dishwasher, right? I still had to do all the grunt work like that. But now it's cool to be able to step back and just see where they will take the good life now.
Yeah.
I really appreciate them. Like they'll run through walls if I ask them to, just because I've proven to them. I've washed dishes right next to you though. Yeah. Who's gonna do that?
Yep. I'll lead by example.
Yeah.
Instead of just going in like the one image I hate, also the one thing I hate personally is one's like, oh, he's my boss. I'm like, I don't like that. I hate that word like adamantly, because all I picture in my mind is that image of the dude being pulled by everybody while he sits on his chair. And then you have the leader who's up on the front showing and helping with the way, helping pull the load. Like that's where I want to be viewed as, is that I don't want to be looked at as the guy who's just sitting on the top of the mountain like, hey guys, do all this stuff. It's like, no, I'm going to get my hands in there. I will help with anything I possibly can. No work is above me. Like if I walk in or if I come in early enough in the morning and I'm able to get the cars out and like I can vacuum the floor for them, like they get to come in, the floor is vacuumed. Like that's it. That's just
little things go a long way. That's what I'm trying to tell my new leader now. She has a great attitude. She's green, but that's what's awesome about her, because she has great attitude. You could teach them everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, a little goes a long way with your leadership. Like, be sweet. Do something that would help their day move smoothly, and then they will in turn work 10 times harder for you.
I'll run through that wall for you.
Yep.
And when
next time you ask them to do something.
Yep.
And the next time they have an opportunity to half-ass something that's for you, they're probably not going to, because they appreciate that you've been taking care of them.
At the same time, I let her know, I'm like, but you got to keep moving around. There's always something to do. If you start delegating everything and then they just see you standing there, that's also not going to work. Like, even if you're like, just keep moving.
Yeah.
Even with me, when I'm in there, I'm like, I'm not just standing there watching them. Like, you gotta keep moving. They have to keep creating.
Do you have kids?
Not yet.
Okay, well, it's the same thing with kids, man. Like, you can tell a kid till you're blue in the face to brush their teeth or go to bed early or whatever.
Right, there you go.
If you're not doing it, like, good luck. Yeah. Right? Like, I've experienced that with my kids.
That's
like,
a great analogy.
When I started taking my sleep serious and I started going to bed early, all of a sudden my kids were a little bit younger than they are now. And I was still like tucking them in every night. And they were like, "You're going to bed now?" "Yeah." "All right, well, we're going to go to bed now. Tuck us in." Like, wait a second. That's all I had to do to get you to voluntarily go to bed early?
Tired, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, they watch. People watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
They pick up like, okay, this is the culture. This is what we do. This is how we do it. And they get everybody else on board.
Yeah.
Lead by example. Yeah. Lead by example. Go out and do it. And
it's like cliche, but it's so true.
We almost were neighbors.
Oh, yeah?
When I pulled up right now.
You were looking at that end spot?
We were looking at that end spot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Except for the whole thing has to be
right
gutted.
Before that one. Right before the Jones and
because it had a kitchen in it already.
Yeah, but nothing was to code. The whole thing would have been gutted.
Yep. Yeah. So it was like getting a second generation kitchen is so hard. Like we looked at a bunch, but that was like really close on the list because our 1, 2, 3 request or must haves for the real estate for the second gen was number 1, underground grease traps, number 2, hoods, and number 3, walk-in space. And that had all the walk-in space or reach-in walk-in space, refrigeration.
Mm-hmm.
It had some hood, but it had 0 underground grease trap, which is thousands of dollars to dig up. And that was the only thing that prevented us from going into there. So now the building we're in at Jones and Lake Mead is an old Capriotti's. And I walked in, I was like, oh, dude, this is going to be sweet because I knew it was going to have no refrigeration because it's a sandwich shop. But I knew everything was going to be up to code because it's corporate. And the hood system was super nice. And I knew they're going to have underground grease traps.
Yeah, no, that building has been sitting empty for a very long time after the very first place I was in. It was called Taste of Chicago, I think.
Was it just like a deli type of thing?
Yeah. And they were there for
not long,
maybe a year. And then that petered off. And then every person that's going in there and wanting to repurpose it, after they get in there and they find out, oh, you have to do all this work to it. And like the owner that is right now, he bought it, bought the rest of the complex about, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years ago. And the guy before that, he was never going to spend the money to do anything with it. And it's like, why don't you just gut it then? And then actually have a big space just to rent out. And he just let it sit. And it's been sitting ever since. It's still obviously sitting to this day.
I think it'd be good there. Like a Papa Murphy's or a take and bake place where they like prep the food. You don't have to cook it there. You know what I mean? And I think that would be good because there's no grease traps. You don't have to cook anything. You just prep everything there.
Everything.
That'd be dope.
So they ripped out all the refrigeration's gone though. They ripped all that out because they
sold it. They sold the refrigeration.
I think so, but I know that's been gutted out of it, and again, it's still just sitting. I don't know what he's trying to charge for it or what he's doing with it. Yeah. I mean, right before COVID happened, we were on track because we bought this section of the building, and we were on track because in this building alone, the guy next to us is a single owner, and the guy next to him was same thing. He owns it. Owns his own one bay, and then the very end one, he's the majority owner of the whole complex. He has, I think probably, he doesn't have like maybe 10 of the bays. Now that we've purchased, we were about to purchase everything to where at least
originally
we own this building. Yeah, we had when we first purchased, it would have been the front door that you walked in. That's 106.
What year? I saw an old picture over there in the 80s. No,
we've been in this building since the 92. Since 92.
My dad started off back in the storage, pretty much facilities. He opened up the first store back there, and then we moved up to the very left or the very right corner. This is when we were just leasing, and then the end space opened up. We were in that space.
That specific space we were in at one point.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, we were in that space, and then after we were in that space, 106 was one of the individual owners. It was Green Valley Carpet.
So where would you do the work? In the back?
Mm-hmm.
There was no garage. Just
no, there was a garage.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a garage, and there was obviously with all the coolers and stuff. It was one of the bigger bays in this building itself. So we moved over there just to expand, and as soon as 106 went up for sale, we purchased that. And then since we've been in this complex, it was the second owner. My dad just pretty much went to him. He's like, we're never going to sell. why don't you sell pieces to me? And so you don't have to take on as much burn because we're never going anywhere. You're never going to get us to sell this to you. So we bought 107. And
Bought
then,
it. That's what's up, man.
And then we bought, this is 104 and the next one to us is 105. We purchased those. And as we purchased these two, there's a dirt lot in the back with an technically abandoned building that is about 6,000 square foot building. It just doesn't have a roof on it. We bought all that at the same time.
Sick.
So it's now we have
that's how you do it.
This bay over, we own, and then we own everything behind it too.
That's amazing. That's our goal too, to buy. That's the next goal, is to buy a commissary kitchen.
Yeah. No, my dad was him actioning all that was, I mean, obviously being able to know that you own the property, you don't have to worry about rent going up or anything. It's just, nope, we pay it off. And I think within the next 10 years or so, it actually will be paid off.
What?
Yeah. I think they took up.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And we're looking at the building up. We'll show you when we're done. The building out back, we're just actually looking to finally start over back there and actually put a building out there where we can add extra space for us and have a bunch of units.
Because you have all the land. You can put a building up and rent out the building, or just keep it for you.
Some of it would be us, and then the rest of it we would rent out.
That's all.
There'll be I think five at 6 at most bays. We want to take the very closest one to us just so we can pull large vehicles in, semis and RVs. And then attached to the bay itself, there is a good portion of land to where the rest of them we were looking to rent out.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you have a lot that's gated off and your own unit.
Yeah, for all the RVs.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's probably next year's issue. We want to action that as soon as possible, because as it sits right now, we already rent out the land for storage. It's gated off into 4 or 5 different lots right now.
Yeah.
And that's rented off to where obviously as those are rented, it's just nonstop income. But putting an actual useful building attached to it, we can actually make it around $2,000 to $3,000 a unit, and it'll pay for itself within the first couple of years.
That's amazing. I love the vision. I was just thinking about that today, because of how established the business is now, you can kind of the goals that you set, you can almost guarantee that they're going to happen, because you have this track record of this is what we do on a month-to-month basis, and you can kind of see it happening. All you got to do is plan it, write it down,
now, what's it going to take to get there?
What's it going to take to get there, and get there?
Yeah.
And don't be anxious about what I have to do exactly day to day. Just kind of keep creating every day, and then eventually you'll be in that spot. That's what's cool about it.
That was what the vision was for this place. So when we first purchased these two and expanded the company, because we needed the space, we took the back half is where we keep all of our film and where all of our jobs get cut up. And then this front space we're in right now, it was leased out for about 3 years. It was a guy who was doing manufacturing for guns for a government contract. He was a great guy. He was a great person to lease to, because he'd come in, he'd work at night. He understood in the lease, the door was going to be there, and to where you had to be able to exit out of the building and stuff. We had a great relationship with him. And then his contract just took him back to the East Coast. So as my parents were starting to look for a new person to lease this spot, I was we need it. We need the space. We're at a spot we need to grow. So it sat dormant for about a year, and it just became our storage unit of all the extra crap we had kind of getting stored in here. And then all of a sudden, last year, I was just thinking about, I was on a run, and I was just how do I sell myself to the whole country? I can't sell tin to the whole country. I can, but I can't. But then I have to either go somewhere to go do it. And so it's what is our industry lacking? It's installers. The one thing that we have been known for is our flat glass installations. We've been able to go to competitions and win. So it's all right, now how do we piggyback off that? Let's open an academy. The sole purpose is so I can train guys for our company. That is the first thing I wanted, is I need somewhere to train somebody, so I don't have to do it on the job, because that's how we always usually do it. Bring an apprentice on, we teach them how to prep a window. They start going on jobs to prep windows. They see how you're doing, and you start feeding them a little bit by little bit. We take about a year or so to turn someone around to where they're actually being an installer. But then you have to find someone who's okay with being on a kind of hourly rate, where it's you're paid apprentice. We're going to teach you straight, but you're going to give us so much time of where you are prepping windows for us, helping other installers out, and then eventually you convert to be an installer. Without an actual training facility, I can bring someone in, and the whole goal is to see, if I devote 4 to 5 days of my own time strictly just to training you I can get the film from my manufacturers, and then we can just sit here on all these windows, and I can run you through the gambit of like, this is how I do it. Now you do it. All right, now do it again. This is what you did wrong.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
No, it's sick. No, for sure. I
Yeah,
thought these were cubicles.
No,
those are the
That's
training
training.
bays.
This is the
Awesome.
training facility.
Yeah.
So
Dude, that's awesome. And then
It's all the different
and
styles
then
of
they can
windows
watch
too.
the videos.
see, that's where it's to get. If you go down the whole thing of it, A was to begin with to train our guys, and then it was like, okay, we can have people pay for a class to come in. Now, beyond that, let's record all the content, put an actual video library together to where, say you don't want to come to a class, but you just want access to content of how you would do every single window. All right, paid subscription, pay this much a month. You can have access to all of my content.
That's awesome.
Go higher than that. You want content and you want contact with us, ask us a couple questions. All right, so
This
you
is
pay
just for people also that just want to get in the field, not just even work for you guys.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now I get to train my guys here. I have a facility. I can train my guys here, but now I can sell classes to anyone who wants to come to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
You get to come to Vegas and be in Vegas, thankfully. And then now I train you. And then say you stick out in the class and it's like, all right, where are you located in the country? Like now you're going to be part of a network that everyone went to this class, has been trained in this class. Say you land a big project and you're trying to reach out for help and you need other installers. You now have access to all these installers who went to the same class as you, got the same accreditation as you. And like now you can reach out within that group itself. Like if you've paid to be on that level to where you're in that networking group, or, hey, I have a project that's a couple thousand square feet. You know, does anybody want in? So now everyone has access to subcontractors.
That's it.
And then we do too. That's another selfish reason.
So smart.
Have our own subcontracting network.
That's exactly where I am right now with our business, because we don't want to ship. And that was like when I was telling you earlier, like I need 8th and 9th day because this is the next move is exactly this. Is how do I get the good life across the country without shipping meals? And how do I sell my brand across the country without selling meals or even internationally? And we are launching our Zoom cooking classes, our virtual cooking classes. So we'll have a virtual cooking class on April 22nd. And the deal is it's a very, very cheap buy-in. $20, you're going to make dinner anyway with your family.
Yep.
For $20, you get the recipe card, the ingredient list. And then you get the Zoom link. Gather around, grab whoever you want, your family, your friends, gather around the computer or the TV, hook it up. And it'll just be an interactive cooking class, cooking show type of thing where
That's awesome.
they can live ask questions.
Yeah.
And we'll have different switchboards where we'll have different views of the food and the oven and the stove. And then with that, we're writing the digital cookbook so that way they can buy the whole digital cookbook or they can just buy the one at the time, which is called Healthy But Good. And so that's a good way for us to be able to like sell our brand, and it's almost exactly the same.
So the crazy thing, so obviously you're selling healthy food.
Mm-hmm.
This goes back to the beginning of our conversation. What the average American would have called healthy food 15, 20 years ago compared to where we're at now.
Yeah.
What's the variety of like different type of meals that you have? And it's like, I know there's people that are keto, they're carnivore, they're vegan, whatever. Sure. What kind of options do you have? And what's like the big do's and don'ts, like seed oil?
Most definitely seed oils.
Yeah.
We pride ourselves on not using seed oils for sure. We're doing that before our guy, RFK, was talking about seed oils. We're on the same boat as him.
Okay.
So definitely no seed oils. That is damaging everybody. I think that's the one.
I think it's the worst.
It's causing inflammation. So guys, no seed oils, please. We only cook with olive oil, and we do a lot of grilling and roasting, and minimal oil when we saute. If we do, we're using butter as well. So, I think our business has been so successful because of the approach we took to our menu. Although the menu is eclectic, because everyone's so spoiled, right? Like one day, like people are buying 5 to 10 meals a week and putting them in their fridge. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when they get in trouble with food, they have something to pull out. But not every day you want to eat the same thing. You're not a bodybuilder. You just want to maintain, or you want to get your protein in. You want to feel good. You're not going to necessarily be in a bodybuilding show, right?
Yeah.
For something like that, you got to be super, super clean. It has to be super, super strict.
Same thing over
same
and
thing,
over.
same weights all the time. for us, we took that approach where the macro approach, which is their macronutrients, which is what our bodies use to fuel ourselves, which is proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And then micronutrients are all the vitamins, right? The minerals and vitamins that are in the vegetables and are in the proteins, like the iron, the magnesium, the zinc. Those are kind of the micronutrients. So macronutrients based fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. So although that the menu's eclectic in flavor profile, because we kind of hit everything, there's something for everybody. One day, Monday, someone wants to have Mediterranean food. So we have the Mediterranean flavors there. They want Filipino food on Tuesday. They want Hispanic food on Wednesday, because we're so spoiled. Everyone wants something different every day. Yeah. Although the menu is eclectic, the macro calories are going to be consistent, meaning you're going to get 6 to 7 ounces of protein, a cup of starch, a cup of veg, different types of veg with different types of micronutrients and fiber. But if you don't want starch, we also offer our signature dishes in low carb form, which is instead of starch, you'll get double and a half portion of the vegetables. So we kind of hit everything that way. We don't necessarily customize macros, but we do work with a nutritionist that help us categorize it to meet a diabetic friendly menu. We'll categorize it for low carb, low sodium. So when people jump on our website, goodlifechef.com, you want to jump on that, goodlifechef.com, you'll see that the menu is separated with gluten-free, low carb, low sodium, diabetic salads, breakfast options, and we even sell meals by the pound for the carnivores or people that want to supplement more protein into their meals.
Oh, sweet.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's what I think we've been so successful because the recipes that we do put out, there's something for everybody on there.
Yeah, that it's so huge, man. Like especially the protein thing and the ease of access. Because I've been slacking the last couple of months and put a couple pounds back on. But when I did lose all my weight, what was it, 2007? Right before I got married. I went from like 240 down to like 155 in like 9 months. And I know 90% of it was just I finally dialed in on nutrition and was disciplined on it. And I went like crazy keto at the time, but I've done a little carnivore since then. I've done fasting. But the one thing I keep coming back to is like, get your goal weight and protein, avoid the seed oils, and everything else seems to work out if I'm actually sticking strict to that. Mm-hmm. This winter, I kind of let myself go. And people
overcomplicate it all the time. Like if you look back, you were consistent and you're hitting your protein goal, right? I think they get in this new stage in their life where they want to be successful with their weight loss or whatever they're trying to accomplish. But there's so many talking heads out there telling them what to do that they get overwhelmed. But if people can just remember to keep it very, very simple and eat 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per goal body weight a day and hit that every single day, I suggest weighing your food out for at least a couple months just so you know and have an idea of what it looks like. Mm-hmm. Like track your food for a few months just so you know what a plate should look like. And that's how we started. I was actually in a nutrition camp where they taught me all of this stuff. So if people can just remember to eat their protein goal, 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per body weight, and then cut all the carbs in half what they're eating. So people are eating not enough protein and 2 times the amount of carbs that they need. And don't worry about the fats. Like that's healthy fats are good. Like the healthy fats in the protein, the natural ones like that. Like stay away from deep fried foods, which is obvious, right? Stay away from added sugars and things, which is obvious. Stay away from the obvious things that are gonna really hinder you. And like people are scared of gluten. Like that stuff's not gonna really damage you. Only if you're consuming it at every meal and that's your main carb source. Try to limit that as well. So if you keep it simple as far as eating real food, right? Potatoes potatoes, sweet potatoes. If you wanted to have some type of carbohydrates and steak and eggs, man. I mean,
well, that's where I'm getting back to like the the propaganda of what food industry was forever, right?
Oh, right. Okay.
Like the idea that eggs are bad or steak is bad and fat is just bad across the board.
Conspiracy then.
Like low fat, non-fat. Like that's
they lied about all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they can push all that sugar. They never said sugar was bad.
Yeah.
And then they put Cheerios above nutrient content above steak. And like, how am I supposed to take you guys serious now?
Yeah.
Once you put Cheerios above eggs, like, bro, what are you trying to do to these people? I'm like, this is very, very wrong. They're hurting our society. And I'm just so thankful that this administration put RFK in a position to help just take out the garbage, man. Just really tell the truth about what real food needs to be, because the success of our country is our health is detrimental to our success.
Yeah. We don't
we're feeding these kids this garbage, and it's like a vicious cycle because we give them the poor society, or not the poor, but like people that can't afford food in their subsidized money for food. The only food that they can buy is this cheap food that's in the middle aisles that's filled with dyes and sugars, and then it's like a vicious cycle. If you think about it, then they're not operating correctly. Now they're having behavioral issues. Now they can't focus in school. Now they can't get a job, and now they're back in this situation. Dude.
No, it's insane, man. When I was in the military, they send you to go to, especially once you had kids, they send you to go to like a WIC office and get signed up for WIC because you qualify for it, which is like a government program for nutrition for your kids. And they give you like every month that you go in there, they give you like a basket full of stuff to take home to feed your kid. And it's like 6 jugs of apple juice. And like, it's like just like a bunch of processed bullshit that like, I get it if you can't afford to feed your kids and the government's handing out this cheap, easy calories to keep them alive for now, but then we're paying for it in the long-term health effects. You've got kids that have attention deficit disorder and all these things that are being diagnosed mainly because they're consuming how many grams of sugar a day and they're sitting in front of a screen and not being active.
I get it. And I have sympathy I'm not a parent, but and I know my life's busy. So taking care of kids, I can see it's just very difficult with time. And I think that's one of our biggest goals, launching these cooking classes. Like we got to make cooking dinner fun and normal again.
Yeah.
That needs to be a normal thing where I think it's a responsibility for me to be able to teach people how to pull together simple meals that they don't have to be gourmet, but they're going to be delicious because it's very simple to make delicious food. And it's going to be very, very affordable to create meals from scratch. And with just a little guidance and a few tips, they'll understand and gain confidence to do these things. They'll understand like, dude, I was overcomplicating this thing. I can have 3 or 4 different meals ready to go for my kids with a little guidance on food safety, right? And a little guidance of how to execute the things. They can pull together 4 or 5 different meals for their family. I think it'd be beneficial to our country.
Oh, yeah, no, I have a buddy that he had high cholesterol, his blood pressure was going up. So pretty much was told cut back on red meat and stuff like that. And like at the time I was a lot heavier on carnivore, technically a lot. I was eating pretty much steak every day, but I was real dialed in. I got to like the best weight I've ever been. I got down to like 167.
Felt good mentally too.
Huh? Everything about it. I was fasting. I was very regimented with it, and like I've dialed it back only in the sense that's hard for like my wife. Kind of looked at me like, I cook a meal for you, and then you come home, you eat that, and then you cook yourself a steak. Because at the time I was only eating like 1 meal a day. I was trying that out, and I was like, okay, I got you. Like when I come home, you want family dinner?
Yeah,
I totally understand it. So we found the means of what we have a very simple meal list when it comes down to it. It's steak. We'll do steak 1 day a week. Come on. Salmon 1 day, and it's either paired with we'll do like a portion of rice and then broccoli.
There you go.
And keep real simple. Now I will cook like sauce and stuff like that, but it's like I do that every 2 weeks.
See what the listener should pay attention to is that they're planning. You guys are planning.
Oh yeah.
You can't just go blind into the week. With a little planning, create a menu.
No, yeah, no, that's helped tremendously. But my buddy's like telling me, he sees me eating steak constantly. He goes, man, your cholesterol, your heart. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to be just fine. Like I avoid the things I need to avoid. I don't touch seed oils. I don't touch vegetable oil, any of that. I've ripped that away. Like if I see anything on a bag or if I see olive oil, not olive oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, like
That's the one.
it makes it so
It's
easy for me.
everything.
Well, it makes it so easy for me to just be like, nope, like that's something I won't touch. That's a line I will not cross if it comes to my daily, every time, whatever I'm eating, I will not cross that line.
That's why the cholesterol is going up because they're using the seed oils to cook the
Oh,
meat.
he's telling me this while he's basting his potato and cooking in vegetable oil. And
Yes.
I was like, dude,
That's
that right there is
That's
what
where the
is
cholesterol-
throwing
This is
your shit
propaganda.
through the roof.
Propaganda. It was genius to call it vegetable oil. Sounds healthy. It's a vegetable. Like, and at the same time, they were telling people to not use lard or butter.
sounds a little bit better than motor oil.
Yeah, which is what it is, right? Like before they learned how to hydrogenize it and make it last on a shelf, that's all it was being used for, is to like lubricate farm equipment.
Man, it makes you so upset, doesn't it, when you start to think about
Yeah.
it?
Oh,
Well, and it was just to make $1 and like,
Because
and I don't think
families,
they.
dude.
Well,
Yeah.
and well, you had the excess from the war, and it's what are we going to do with all this bullshit over
Well,
here?
think
I
about
got
it.
an idea.
This-
Let's
Eat it.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right when they figured out how to take a waste product from the agriculture industry that every farm across the world had all this excess oil that could be produced from these seeds and from whatever, all of a sudden, hey, we can make it shelf stable. And if we put it into a packaged food, the shelf life goes up.
Mm.
So you're taking something you were throwing away, you're making it one of the main ingredients, and now the shelf life of a processed product is going to last longer. It's why a McDonald's burger can sit on this table a year and no bacteria, no fungus is going to eat it because they don't recognize it as food. But yet we're going to eat it. And then your microbiome, which is another thing that nobody knew about that we're learning about, is like the bacteria in your gut are going to thrive off of what you feed them. So if you're feeding them a bunch of crap, that's the type of bacteria you're going to have. And you're seeing celiacs and all these other things pop up.
But then you get to treat it with pills. And
I was
here's
just
your-
gonna say that.
Then
here's
you
your-
flush it
here-
down with
it's
some
all
medicine.
good.
Here's
Big
your
pharma
medicine.
comes in on the
Here,
other end.
take this. You only might start bleeding
was
from your
thinking
eyes,
exactly
have
that.
headaches, and God
Big
knows
Pharma's
what
like,
else.
Oh, we'll help you. We'll invest in that. Big
Yeah.
food, big pharma, they're the same thing.
Absolutely.
This is where I'm on the same page with you as far as RFK goes. Is I'm excited that the conversation's happening, but I think it's just like somebody that's 100 pounds overweight expecting to be better in a month of.
Oh no.
It's going to take us a long time
long
as a
time.
nation to get healthy again, because you have all of that decades of propaganda burnt into people's head that steak's bad for you or eggs are bad for you. And still there's people that like were becoming adults in the 80s that still think like a non-fat diet's the way to go.
Get that margin, son.
They're
Spread that
torching-
margin on
and
there.
your body can't create hormones without some good quality fats. Like that's like a big part of the process, right?
Yeah, everyone's all jacked up. The women in this country all have autoimmune disease, and it's all stemming from all the garbage in the food and all the medicine that they're getting as kids.
And again, we're humans. We invent stuff to make things easier. And at the end of the day, like when the McDonald's brothers started making food really fast, all of a sudden, like that's right when women are coming into the workforce in droves. And all of a sudden, it's a lot more convenient to just go grab a burger real quick on the way home.
Yeah, because
And-
it's addicting. I mean, they
Yeah,
got
it's
us
easy.
early. Yeah, they
It's
got us
easy.
early.
It's
Oh, yeah.
always like
Cheeseburgers
people are
like-
looking for comfort in stuff that's easy. And easy, cheap calories is like the biggest hack on the human brain ever. Like, oh, you can just go into a gas station. There might be like one cooler shelf that has like eggs and cheese and stuff.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
else in there is just straight poison, quick, easy calories.
Well, now we're addicted, and food addiction's a real thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, I go to recovery meetings every week for my addictions, and in there's people with food addictions, and it's a real thing. They really battle with it, and I feel for them, and I didn't think it was a real thing. And people are really dealing with this, and they got us early. They're binge eating this very garbage food, and I think it could just be reversed very simply by just having this a new identity and telling yourself like you're worth it to your family. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for your kids, do it for your spouse, do it for your family that are depending on you.
Yeah.
Like just have a new identity and say, enough's enough. This is who I am. This is how I eat. And I used to eat like this, and that's fine. I think people are just scared of the change because it's been part of their life for 3 decades.
Yep.
And all they have to do is say, that's just not me anymore. I eat like this. And like, we have to take the word diet out of things and just say, this is my life. This is how I eat. This is how I live. And just replace all the little key words of like, should I eat keto and this? And it's like, how about you just eat real food?
Real food.
And figure out, like, crawl before you walk. Just start eating real food. Eliminate before you add. Let's just start eliminating before we add. That way you can hone in the basics of this lifestyle. And it's not a diet, because once the diet's over, you're going to go back. Let's just create this new lifestyle for you.
Well, that's the new thing that is, well, it says it's keto. It's like, would you read the ingredients? Like, sure, it does. It's not hitting those certain things.
It's in a package.
Great.
The key thing you said is real food. So even like when I did keto, I was on like a combination of like paleo, Whole30, keto.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was all whole, real food, like no nitrate bacon. I'm cooking it. I'm not going to Wendy's and getting one of their patties without a bun. It was stuff. I was making eggs at home, doing steak, salmon, and olive oil like crazy.
Because people still want the convenience. They're like, I'm going to switch my lifestyle.
Yeah.
They're still calling it a diet. And they're like,
you're
I
got
still got to make it easy for myself. So I'm going to grab this packaged stuff. But it says it says keto and it says Whole30 on it. I'm like, guys, just take away all the processed stuff. Yeah. Go into the outer aisle and buy some real food.
Yep.
Stay away from the center.
For sure. 100%.
Easy. Make it easy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, man. Because like I agree with you on the addiction thing. The crazy thing is what? It's like 100,000 people are dying a year right now from opioids, fentanyl, or whatever. But it's like 1 million people a year dying from diseases that are really caused from poor nutrition over decades. And it's like
it can be reversed so fast with exercise as well.
Yep. The problem is it's really easy to put off and say, I'm going to start on Monday, or I'm going to start on, I'm going to have New Year's resolution or whatever. Because it's not like fentanyl where you take one pill and you're dead. And like all of a sudden that affects a family or a community immediately. Whereas, fuck it. I'm gonna go eat McDonald's today. I'll start tomorrow. Yeah. Like it's much easier to not look at that food addiction as deadly. It's deadly. You're losing quality of life over time, and that's the real problem with the healthcare system. It's whatever we do insurance wise isn't gonna matter if our health keeps declining, because the cost of taking care of all these people with all these chronic diseases is the real problem. Yeah. And it's causing all of these other side effects, like cost of insurance going up and all of that. But the real problem is our health is just plummeted. Look at the videos of high schoolers during JFK being in office when they had like a health program. I saw that with the gym, where they're like all doing pull-ups, push-ups. They're all lean as hell. Like, I graduated in 2003. And I was dealing with weight issues because we had a pantry full of Oreos and Snackwells and whatever the hell we wanted growing up. Cereal for breakfast. Like it just was the thing. And I remember being an overweight kid in school back then, in middle school and stuff. And I feel like there was only a handful of kids that were overweight at that time.
You had to get it from somewhere.
Not that long ago, right? Now I go to, we haven't been to an open house since COVID, which is actually kind of weird. But I remember the last open house I went to for my kids was right before COVID. And I remember walking around that middle school and just being like, what happened? Because it was like the kids that weren't obese were the outliers. The parents that weren't obese were the outliers. And it's just like, this has been in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't perfect in the 80s or the 90s, but compared to now, it's crazy. Like that's the real healthcare issue. Our health is fallen by the wayside. Oh, absolutely. And luckily the conversation's happening now. Podcasts are happening. You got people like RFK in big roles that are going to at least have those conversations. Yep. I just hope it doesn't get politicized and, polarized by the toxic people in the political parties. This should be a universal thing. Like, let's eat clean, healthy food and make sure our kids are healthy. Like
education.
Everybody should be on board with that.
You want to help the healthcare problem? Let's start with the food problem first.
Yeah.
Let's address that. Healthy. Like the answer isn't like, well, let's prescribe this. Like, oh, here's some Ozempic. You're good to go. Like, just take this. You'll lose all your weight. It's like, it's creating another problem that's going to happen later on down the road. Like, and it's not an easy fix. Like 2015, I was at my heaviest. I was about 238. And then got through, actually started focusing myself, got my health a little better, got down to like 208, 205. And then my son was born. When my son was born, I was already trying to get on track to run a marathon. The first night that he was born, I was holding him. Like I was on my phone. I entered myself in a marathon right then. I was like, because I'm the type of person, if I enter it, I'll definitely toe the line and go.
It comes back to the why.
Yeah.
Who are you doing this for?
Oh.
If you're not going to do it for yourself, like I said, do it for someone. Just envision someone that you want to be there in 10, 15, 20 years. I'm trying to tell my friends these things, dude, because millennials are at a turning point right now where we have time to fix this. All millennials that are from 25 to 42, right? But it's a turning point right now. Like literally right now, between those 5 or 10 years, that if you do not fix this in the next 5 or 10 years and do a 180 from your life and stop eating like a child, you're gonna go down a really, really dark path pretty fast. Like by the time you're 50,
and you're gonna lead the next generation down an even darker path.
It can be turned around right now. Like you still have time to turn around and live and live another 40, 50 years of like, yeah, dude, I used to be like this, but man, thank God I did it. Now I'm 90 years old. I could have been 50 and done.
Oh, I want to be racing my son. Like when he starts getting to the point, he's starting to kind of climb. He's 6 years old. He's starting to, he'll join me on some runs on the weekend. And he's slowly kind of grabbing towards that. But eventually I want to start getting to the point that I want to do the thing. I've seen it on social media. It's like, every time you have a birthday, we're going to race. We're going to have a foot race.
That's awesome.
Let's see how long it takes you to beat me. And believe me, I'm going to make sure it's a very long time before that ever happens.
It's like what he was talking about, like leading by example.
Oh, it's
crazy is I've seen it with my kids. I've got a
daughter wants your ass now.
Yeah, I've got a 16-year-old right now. That
she's ridiculous.
If we did that, it would not go good unless I did a really long distance. And even then, she'd destroy me right now. Yeah, right now, well, she was ranked second in the state in the 1600 until a couple of days ago. There was just a race in the northern kids went and raced in California, and a couple people up there passed her time. So right now, she's ranked 5th in the state for the 1600 and 3rd for the 800. But yeah,
good for you, man.
Like we go out on a trail run,
awesome.
And I used to be able to keep up with her on a 2-hour trail run that was about 10, 11 miles. And the last couple of weekends that we've gone out there, because I put on a couple pounds over over like the winter.
Taking it easy on you.
No, I just tell her, track your heart rate, go without me. And she has a friend with her. And I'll take off at the same time they do. And I'll turn around when I know I need to turn around to make it back at the 2-hour mark, a little bit ahead of them. And I'll turn around and it'll end up being like a 7.5 mile run. And they end up getting in 12 miles in the same amount of time.
That's awesome.
Oh,
you got to be happy with that.
Oh, yeah. I'm super excited.
That's
like,
awesome.
It's great.
Oh, seeing her do that, it's awesome. It is great. And the fact that like even when she got into track and she got into running like heavily in high school, when she got into cross country and then she got into track, was it a year later?
Yeah, she did cross country her freshman year. And then in the spring, she played softball her whole life. So she made the varsity softball team. And her sophomore cross country season, she did really well and finished well at state. And all of her cross country teammates are like, you need to do track. And she was kind of like teetering, like, I don't know if I want to quit softball. I was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to run or do you want to play softball? Kind of want to run. All right, do that then. So then last year was her first year in track. And as a sophomore, she finished 4th in the state in the 1600.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And then she's like on pace right now to break all the school records at Coronado. She actually has all the sophomore year records. And I think she's already broke all the junior year records this year. And so she's on track she doesn't get injured. She should.
She want to go to college.
Yeah. So we've actually had some schools already start reaching out because she just ran a 2:17 in the 800 like 2 weeks ago, which has her ranked like 30th in the nation for her grade. So like
That's
Oklahoma State was at that meet. They like reached out to the coach.
Eat?
She's actually really good. So my thing with her is get your body weight and protein every day. Like that's
you're telling her?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So think about this. How many times did your coaches growing up talk about nutrition?
Oh, never. Oh,
Think about that. They would expect you to perform. You'd show up to the game, and they'd be like, "What'd you eat?" They wouldn't even ask you what you eat.
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't even be like, "Hey guys,
make sure you get a Gatorade."
What'd you have? Oh,
with no sodium
pizza?
in it.
Did you have pizza? They have no.
Yeah.
There's no discussion about.
Yeah.
But you're expecting these kids to perform at this level, but there's no conversation about what you're putting in their body.
That's where I'm excited. Like for the youth right now, the edge in all of the kids who are like dialed in, They're the most dialed in they've ever
That's
been.
an edge, man.
Yeah, and it's like
absolutely.
what's crazy is you see all these records going down left and right. I've been so dialed into running right now. Since the start of the year, there's been like 9 world records that have gone down at the top level, and then there's been a ton of them that have been like a 7-year-old girl just ran. There's like all these like age group records that are going down left and right, because at the pinnacle of the parents that are the millennials that have learned these lessons are teaching it to their kids. They're getting them into stuff early, and they're dialing them in the nutrition. And it's at like all sports too.
Yep.
You look at like college baseball players and softball players right now, even like college softball. When our sister played softball, a good percentage of even the top college girls were kind of big. Yep. Now you watch a college softball game, they're all look like athletes.
Yeah. That's an easy way for your kids to have an edge on people. And if you're a school, they should be doing that, because we provide meals for Game Changer Academy.
Yeah.
So we provide meals for them
2 times
a week. And I'm like, you guys are
Boots, huh?
Yeah. Is he okay? Smart.
Yeah,
smart.
Poots. I went to high school with him.
Yeah, like schools like that even existing
Smart.
is crazy.
It's like they get it. They understand, like, we want to train athletes, we better talk about food. And I think, and to segue about that, what we're talking about with the propaganda with food, as soon as they think about when they took out home economics and cooking in schools, it was right around the time when fast food was getting popular.
Yeah. I did it in middle school.
Talking about it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's gone. Right?
But even the one I took in middle school was like, they taught us how to make a pizza out of like taking Pillsbury, like
it was on his
biscuits, and like there was nothing healthy about that. Like, here, you just roll it in a can of tomato sauce and
put back immediately.
In like that and physical education.
Physical education, nutrition
for a certain
from the beginning, dude. From the beginning, not just one little conversation. Like every year, this needs to be dialed in, and then back it up for what they're feeding for school lunches. I'm part of a Rotary Club, and we're in these schools, and we see and we cook for them sometimes. And sometimes I do cooking demos for them, and I go into their kitchens. They have full capability of cooking meals. They have ovens and refrigeration. They have full capabilities of cooking these foods, proper food for kids, but they're unpacking processed foods and heating them up in warmers, opposed to just baking something that's probably going to be just as cheap, but way more nutritious.
Yeah, the food going into schools is crazy. What's even crazier is the last couple of years, just like automatically, no matter what, and I don't know what the income range must be, because I don't know how my kids keep qualifying for it. They have you fill out stuff at the beginning of the school year, and like it seems like every kid now is qualifying for free meals almost across the board, no matter what, because even mine do. And then they'll go in.
Think about it.
They'll go in early, and it's like, oh, what do they have? Like cinnamon rolls and chocolate milk.
Of course, you're gonna take the free food.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, they're giving you guys free food.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute, what are they giving my kid free food? What kind of free food are they getting? And you're like, chocolate milk and cinnamon rolls. No wonder they're like.
And my younger daughter,
a hard time sleeping.
My younger daughter was eating it like constantly. And my older one would pack her lunch and bring her lunch. This year, my younger one, she's a freshman. She's finally got dialed in, and she stopped because like
she got it. She understood
now she's packing and bringing her lunch because she got into cross country, and then she did wrestling. Now she's doing track. But the same thing, like no matter how much the schools do, at the end of the day, what happens at home, I think matters the most. Because like my daughter, my younger one, she was always taught her 8th grade year in middle school. She had the choice to grab an extra elective, and she grabbed a second PE class, and they would run a mile every week in PE. And so once a week, she would have both of those classes, and she would run the mile in both of them and beat everybody, including all the boys. And she'd come home talking about like, oh, I almost got under 6 minutes. And I'm like, how many other people are running it? She's like, nobody, I'm the only one. Like, so it's like, even when the opportunity's there, it's still not being put out at home for people to even care about it.
I think at that time too, you were in running at the time, and then when you petered off running, I got into running.
Yeah, well, I've never stopped. I just haven't been as insane with it. I've been getting like,
but it's been in her life.
Yeah.
I mean, she's paced me on ultra runs. She's paced me on my first attempt at 100K was out here at Red Rock. Actually, that was my second attempt at that. Back.
Oh,
So second
Brooke did,
attempt.
yeah.
Brooke
But then
did.
how important is the food when you're training for something? Like you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
go in there without that being a very important piece of the planning.
Oh yeah.
You can't be like, I'm going to run a 100-mile marathon and not think about what am I going to eat the next 3 months.
So here's the problem. How did you fuel your first couple ultras?
Oh, horribly. So there's two different headspaces for that. Because you look at one of the best female ultra runners in the country, Courtney Dauwalter. She eats nothing but shit.
At least that's what she's saying.
We've watched her.
I
What are
feel
you
like I
talking
say
about?
that on
No,
purpose so
we-
that other people do it and she just crushes everybody.
I
Yeah,
literally
well, she
watched.
does
I
crush
watched her
Jolly Ranchers.
fill. I watched her fill her cantina with Mountain Dew, power slam it down, grab some pieces of candy, refill it with Mountain Dew, and then take off.
There's something about the sugar though and the
Yeah,
carbohydrates.
At the level,
And
at
the
the speed
carbohydrates.
she's running at, she needs it.
What she's
not
doing,
it
yes.
every day. I don't think she's doing it on a day-to-day
Training
basis.
runs, she's probably not as bad.
I don't think she is. I think she's probably using it as like a pre-workout and a longevity, like a sustainable energy through the race.
In her mind, one of the reasons she also runs too is that if she wants to have beer or nachos, she's going to have beer and nachos. And she's been on multiple, she's an outlier. She is not the person that you technically want to follow because she is already doing things that
She's running 120 miles a week.
Exactly.
Yeah,
At that point,
it's-
you can
it's-
eat
you can eat
whatever you want.
At 40 miles a week, you can damn near eat whatever
that's
you want.
what got me into.
Because calories in, we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah.
Calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's what got me into running, but it was one of those things. Like, I do love food. And like, I knew if I run long distances, I get to the point where I was running 40, 50 miles in a week. Like, it mattered, but it really didn't matter.
really didn't matter.
I couldn't get enough in.
You couldn't get enough in.
His 10-mile runs would be two
Oh,
pink box in the morning. Eat some pink
Those are
box.
18-mile runs.
Oh,
buddy.
whatever.
Let's get it straight.
Let's get it straight. Those are my long runs. I would
But it
run
was
to
about
where,
a break even after the pink box.
But what helped me with that, though, I will say the edge I got off that is I was at least able to train my body when I'm actually in a race. Because now I stick to where I'm extremely fat adapted. I have powder that is more fat based instead of carb based, where it's like I stick to my game plan until I hit a brick wall, and it's like, all right, now everything gloves off. Like, I'm grabbing some Oreos. Like, I need a sugar spike right now. Like, I'm 60 miles in, and I've started to realize that like at certain times it makes sense. But if you are too adapted just to eating pure health, all of a sudden you introduce an Oreo and you haven't had one in 5 years. You're probably in the woods shitting your life out, or you're puking because you're not used to eating that.
Yo, moderation. I'm not here saying. We also have to add that in. Moderation.
Yeah.
Life is supposed to be a little fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of my favorite
It's all
Jocko.
good, dude.
One of my favorite Jocko Willink's like little clips is him talking about being at a birthday party for one of his kids and getting offered cake, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll have some cake." And the other parents like, "What happened to discipline?" He's like, "This is the freedom part." And it's like, if you're disciplined and you build up that bank account of being healthy, then when you go have an ice cream cone or whatever,
because Jocko has a healthy relationship with food.
yeah,
yes,
Most people don't have healthy relationships with food. They have no understanding about it. And they're either too far this way, too far this way.
Yeah.
If you have a healthy relationship with food, you can know your body and you know I can have that yogurt, land, whatever I can have.
yeah.
that's where I've got myself to now. My first 100 miler, it was kind of no hold bars. I was just watching calories and and then after my first 100 miler, I was like, all right, I want to get better at this. What do I need to do next? Like I'm training. All right, now I need to start looking at what am I eating? What am I putting in my body?
There you go.
So then I started going to heavy red meats, tried carnivore, stuck heavy on that. And like my second race was in Tahoe. And that one, doing the 100 miler in Tahoe, I knew it would take, I had to follow a training regimen for running. And I bought a training plan from Ultra Runner that I follow. And then also I need to start dialing in my diet too, because it's like, this is all elevation. Like, I want to complete this race. Like, so I was very, very thorough in that race, and it showed. Like, I dialed my training in correctly to where I didn't overtrain. So I 100% overtrained for my first one. I was running way too much, and my heart rate was way too high, like every single day, to where I got to the point where I had two days where I was spiking my heart rate, and the other days were all active recovery. Like, go run for an hour and 15, go run for an hour and a half. Saturdays is always a long day. It'd go from 2.5 hours to at most. At the peak, it's a 5-hour run day, followed by a 4-hour run day on Sunday.
It's amazing, bro.
But like,
I'm getting tired just listening to you
It's not.
talk about all that right now. Like, dude,
As
that's
you
a
slowly
lot of
build
running.
up to it,
you
it's not
build
that
up to
bad.
it. It's not. I mean, after like my first
No,
year,
it's so fun, right? Running. Once you get to, you're right. Once you start getting into a groove of running becomes, and the runner's high is like no other.
Yep.
Is like no
Yeah.
other.
Could not agree more.
It's
Like
amazing.
the 4 to 5 hour training days, those only suck to a point because it's like you get 2 hours in and say it's a 5 hour day. You're like, I have 3 more hours.
And the
I'm not
discipline to
even
do it
halfway
day-
off. Like
To
I'm,
do day after day, every other day, and to stick to that discipline is hats off to you for doing that.
That's where
Whoever you choose.
that's where my
whoever do
older
it.
daughter is like.
She has that
so
dialed in.
She has that.
Perfect.
She
so-
loves it.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
so right now. If you look at her Strava, it's 6.5 to 7.5 hours every single week between 40 and 50 miles for the last 90 days. Like, and really that goes back really for the last like
She
12
probably
months.
has amazing mood. She probably
yeah.
can control her emotions.
Yeah, she's
compared
she's
to
super
like
chill.
even being a teenager.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course, there's times.
Yeah, she's
where
got her
if there
moments, but
wasn't-
yeah. So she's so dialed in. Like, not only she's on the protein thing, she does fish oil twice a day.
cool. It's gonna
She's
give
doing
her a huge
creatine
edge.
every day. She cold plunges every morning. Now in the last like 3 months, she's been adding the sauna in every day, and she just bumped that up from 20 minutes every evening to 30. Like,
What's
she's
her name?
dialed in. Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Keep being awesome.
Oh no. I mean, I
crush it in college.
Oh yeah.
I look at her now, like she motivates me now too. It's like, I got to make sure I stay dialed
For
in
real.
because like to begin with, when she first got into it, he'd be like, he was telling me
It is
like,
motivating.
oh, you would beat her in a 5K. I'm like, there's no chance in hell. Like,
Well, now there's no chance.
Now there's absolutely no chance. Even when she was running 22-minute 5Ks, like I was running like 60, 70 miles in a week. It was not for speed though.
Yeah, but
Running
you
for
do a
speed
little
is so
bit
much
of
different.
extra training for a 5K, you get under 22 pretty easy.
Yeah, but I like.
Getting under 20 is a little tougher.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't.
Hey,
want,
we gotta give a shout out to JB over there. Jordan's transformation. You guys notice his transformation in the last
Oh,
few
yeah.
months?
Oh man, you should
Oh,
see a transformation
showing up
over the
for you
last like
guys.
couple years.
Oh,
bro.
I've already I have been making more classes, and I was making at least. I'm gonna get back to. I'm gonna be doing 2 a week to where it fits in with my training plans. I just started a training plan. I'm doing 100K in August 16th. It's up in upstate New York, and it's like I just started. I have a 24-week program I just purchased to where I'm in work week 3 at the moment, and it's like I backed off the CrossFit for like the first 2 weeks because like the first week it was like probably the first time I registered 9.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I think I ran like 40 miles in the week, and I haven't done that in about probably 3 to 4 months. And my
Dude, you went
legs were
straight up to 9 hours from what?
I was still running like at least minimally 5 to 6.
Oh,
That's
okay,
cool.
that's not bad.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so-
good for you guys.
But like my body was like, my legs were like, hey, like, whoa, what are we doing here? And it's like, in my mind, it's like, we're getting back to business, man.
Yeah.
Like I gotta get my cold plunge filled up again. I have it sitting empty right now. I gotta get that filled up because when I was doing my last year's training program, I didn't miss a day of cold plunge. First thing I do is I wake up, rolled out of bed, went straight into where my cold
Whoa, whoa,
plunges,
whoa, whoa.
jumped straight in.
First rule of cold plunge: we don't talk about cold plunge.
Yeah, should be.
That helps everybody.
Oh,
dude.
my recovery was
Omar is like on top of that.
Dude,
I
it's so
didn't
cool to
have
see how
so
often
many-
he's been doing it.
I watch it through him, and I think about that I think about that when I wake up and I'm tired. I'm like, dude, this fool is up already in the cold water, and I just can't even get out of bed. I just get my butt out of bed.
Oh, in the middle of my training plan last year, it's like I was getting up because I depending on how long the run is, like I was up at 2:30. I was in the cold plunge instantly, and like I take a picture of my watch,
That's
take a picture of
awesome,
the cold
dude.
plunge, and I got like other tenors within our network. Like, are you going to bed right now? I'm like, oh,
I'm
I
getting up,
I just
dude.
woke up. I have to go run for 3 hours. They're like,
But you
What's wrong
show
with
up.
you?
I mean, it makes you show up for your family, your business, and be a better leader, right?
oh, the mental
Great.
clarity through the roof. Like
Nice, huh?
injury. I did not have an injury during my last training program. And it was the first time I didn't have something either lingering or nothing too bad, but didn't have any injury in my last training program. And I actually stayed on top of it. Cold plunged every single day morning, no matter what. Took my supplements, I CBD, krill oil, creatine, and I get up, instantly take my pre-workout, knew I had to get into the cold plunge right then because by the time that 200 milligrams kicks in, I won't be able to get in the cold plunge because I'll have to go shower first and then get my cold plunge. So it's like instantly hop in the cold plunge, get that over with, lace up my shoes, hit the head, and then get out and run. And it's like, as soon as I get back, I take in all my supplements, take my green shake, and then I have a protein shake. Because at first I was just I would fast after my run. Like even after my long runs, I would fast after. I wouldn't eat until like about lunch. And I did that 2 training programs ago. So this last one, I was like, no, I'm going to introduce, because for me, it's as soon as I eat something in the morning, I start a battle within myself. Like, I want to keep eating because I love food. And as soon as I take in something, it's just like, ooh, what's this over here? I'm gonna have some peanuts, or I'm gonna have this, or I'm gonna have that. To where it's like, whenever I'm fasted, like I don't have the urge to eat. And as soon as I eat at work, it's either I lag down, or it's all of a sudden like I have cravings. And it's just I want to deal with cravings, to where it's like, all right, no, I have to have a protein shake after I go run at least an hour and a half, 2 hours. My body needs the protein. Started doing that. And it's like I said, like I didn't have any injuries in my last training program. So I'm looking to duplicate it again. I need my cold plunge going. But now I'm looking to introduce, my wife was always on top of me, all you do is run. And like we have a gym at home where it's like, no, I am in the gym. I am doing at least a 20-minute workout in the gym. You don't see it because I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I am using my gym. But now going to Social City, like to me, it's also just the change of environment too. I love when I get there at 5 a.m. and we get that class knocked out, like the ultimate high. Like, and then you're surrounded by like-minded people, and like you just like it's now 6 o'clock in the morning. I just got an hour workout in. I feel great. Like I'm ready to start my day. Like let's go.
Yeah. It's the ability to show up for people. I think that's the best. I think like looking good and being in shape is like the total byproduct. I think that's what people go in initially for a fitness lifestyle, but then they quickly realize is how you feel and show up for other people and the people that you love and care about, and trying to influence like the patience you have, the mental clarity, the ability to take criticism without freaking out, the way to problem solve becomes much easier. All those things I think are
and it's not obvious, because the number one question I would get when I was doing 40, 50 miles a week and talking about it was like, how do you have any energy to get anything done? And it's like, actually, I'm way more productive. Mm-hmm. Like a morning I start out with an hour on the trail or 2 hours on the trail. That is like my best day of the week. It's the days that I don't get up and do it that I feel like crap.
There you go.
And it's like that most people can't, if they haven't done it, they can't connect the dots on that.
Yeah.
Like how is getting a really hard workout in for an hour in the morning giving you more energy?
Yeah.
And my theory on it is it's breath work, especially like running, cardio in my mind. When you're running, it's really hard to sit there and breathe really deeply without doing something active. When you go for an hour-long run, it's forcing you to breathe deeply. You're oxygenating your whole body. And now at a cellular level, your body has the ability to create ATP like it wouldn't have, because you literally just kind of got the gears running and, hey, we got to create extra energy. And now then you stop and your body's still like ready to produce all that energy.
Yeah, it feels great, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
endorphins are the best part about working out.
Oh, that was the same thing. You get like, how do you have energy doing it? I'm like, if I'm not doing this, I have less energy. Like if it's you need a couple more hours sleep. Like, no, I make sure that I'm in bed by like no later than 8 o'clock. So if I can sleep from 8 to say 2:33 in the morning, I just logged at least 6.5 to 7 hours. Like that's all I need. And every once in a while, when I get into later parts where I'm having to do the 5-hour runs and stuff like that, like I'll have a couple 6-hour days. But I make sure those don't pile up, and I also try to recoup later on. Try to get a little extra more sleep a couple other days of the week, and it's like I have more energy than I've ever had. Interrupted by the dog.
Is he okay?
Yeah.
What do you eat? He has a fur ball?
No, he has it's like a reverse sneeze.
No, it's probably I don't see you, because that's the only class I'll take is that 5 a.m. one. That's the only one I don't take. Is the 5 a.m. one.
That's the only one you don't take.
That's the only one I don't take is the 5 a.m. one.
That'll be the one I'll be at. The fact that they have a 5 a.m. class, that's what will allow me to expand my training.
Yeah.
Because like I wanted to get better at like, if I just focus on the running, yes, that'll get better, but I need to start attacking other muscle groups. Because I had like
weight training is important.
Oh, I had a knee problem in my right knee where I kept feeling like I was injuring it. I went to my physical therapist and he was like, dude, do you do anything for your lower back? I'm like, no. And he goes, you need to start introducing lower back. And he showed me a bunch of different exercises. And when I started doing that and started working on those different muscle groups, he goes, what's happening now is your IT band is wound so damn tight. That goes from your back down through your leg, rolled into your knee.
Yeah.
And if that's bound tight, your body thinks right now it has a knee problem, and it's going to tell you that you having a knee problem. It's trying to get you to stop.
Yeah, usually when there's something wrong with an area, it's stemming from, like if you have people have shoulder pain, they don't associate it with their pec or their lat or scapula or anything like that. But I think that's what's awesome about Social City. If you guys don't know what that is, go follow them. Social City 24 Apache off Flamingo. Go check that out. Great gym. But what Omar does well over there is like he implements the little boring exercises that we all need to implement into our life so that we don't get injured.
Yeah.
And like we think it's boring when we're doing it, but it's actually so beneficial to us to engage those little muscles that we had no idea we have.
Mm-hmm.
And that way that we don't, it creates longevity so that when we do the bigger lifts or the longer runs, that those little muscles have been properly trained.
Oh, like tib raises?
Yeah.
Like introducing that into my training program by itself strengthened my knees tenfold.
Crazy, huh?
And then even like it was actually, I started like while I'm training, I'll go to my buddy has a physical therapy office. I'll go to him and I'll get worked out. He'll stretch out my legs, do dry needling, cupping and stuff like that, areas that are tight. And like the different exercises he's shown me to do, how to engage different muscle groups has helped my long distance running tenfold, because now all of a sudden when I am doing a run, I'm not just trying to focus on just using my legs. Like at certain times it's like, all right, I need to engage my core. I need to actually engage my glutes right now. So I can actually, if I'm having a problem with a certain part of my leg, engage those other muscles and change my technical running pattern to realize like, all right, I need to lean on this other muscle group. So I don't feel like I'm just torching one muscle group for 100 miles straight.
Yeah, then you go longer.
Completely. The one race we did together, our 100-mile race, that was the big thing that helped me. Was all of a sudden there were certain parts of the race where I could actually, for the first time, feel like, I'm engaging my glutes right now.
I felt it too. Actually, when we were on that back stretch on like the third loop, where all of a sudden we started going for a while, I was really focused on engaging my hips. And the more I did that, like, it was like, oh, this is like feeling like I know that I should be doing it, but I can feel the difference. If I go from engaging my hips to not, like, it felt so much, because we were 50 miles in, your body's so fatigued. That little bit of a difference of an adjustment in form made it feel so much more effortless. Oh, it was crazy.
It saved me. I don't say saved me that race, but it helped that race to where, I mean, that was my fastest 100-miler. And like that made a huge difference in how I felt like at the end of the race, especially recovering the week after, is like, you know, how much damage I did to a certain area or another area, to where my recovery definitely amped up way faster.
So have you done any like CrossFit games or anything like that, or is it purely just fitness?
No, I haven't done any CrossFit games.
Like anything
I'm pretty
local?
competitive in that. Yeah, I've done some competitions.
Some local?
Yeah, I have fun doing that. I just like having fun and like the camaraderie, the accountability of like the CrossFit world. That's kind of how I stumbled in it. I knew I needed like some type of group fitness.
Yeah,
I'm not that motivated to go do it myself. I wouldn't push myself quite as hard as I do when there's other people around. And
the group aspects. Groups really good.
Groups make a big difference. That's why I do enjoy when I can make the class, having a group of people around.
Yeah, I encourage new people that are getting into fitness as well. Go do a class. Like they get embarrassed and timid to do that because they feel like, I look like this and I need to get in shape before I go there. And it's like, no, actually, they're going to be so kind to you because they see themselves in you.
Yeah,
they're going to actually flock to you and want to help you because they've been there.
Everybody here was new at once. Dude. That was the thing I loved about jiu-jitsu. That's actually the big thing that made me fall off running as much as I got crazy into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And you talk about like a runner's high and like flow state or whatever you want to call it. That was the thing that really sucked me in, is like the group environment. You're helping others, they're helping you. But as soon as it's time to roll at the end of class for like 30 minutes, it's like an instant hack to like get into that flow state, or almost like a runner's high.
Wow.
As soon as you're like one round in, the next 3, 4, 5 rounds don't feel like anything because you're just so focused on what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's almost better than a runner's high. And you don't need to be 3 or 4 miles into a run. It's like,
you think it
after
has something
one
to do with
fight,
that breath work? You think that has something to do with what you're saying, kind of like that heavy breathing, that breath
well,
work
that's
thing?
the crazy thing. As you get better, you start realizing, as you were new, you were like panic breathing. And that was it. Like, you definitely, breathing comes into jiu-jitsu too. Like, you definitely start like tapping into, okay, don't panic and start hyperventilating. And like, you're going to cause your heart rate to spike, and then you're calm down.
And then you get choked.
You're gassed out.
And choked out.
And then you get choked out.
Yeah, totally.
Well, dude, I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you'll definitely having you on again. Like I said, I do want to make you and Omar, and let's sit down. Let's have some fun.
I can't wait to try some of your meals. I'm gonna get some of those. And
for sure. I'll bring some by.
Well, you don't gotta do that. I'll come get some.
Goodlifechef.com if you guys want to go check it out.
Is that the best place to get a hold of you guys?
Yep, goodlifechef.com. Order by Thursday. We deliver. You can pick it up on Sunday.
Oh, you deliver?
Yep, $10 flat delivery rate anywhere in the valley. We deliver to, we stock home. I mean, we stock offices all over. It's a great way to boost morale in offices as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I think what we really want to promote is the cooking classes on April 22nd. We'll have the link in our Instagram. If you go to our Instagram, it's The Good Life Chef. We'll have the Eventbrite on there where you can purchase one of the Zoom tickets, and we can have a little fun and teach you guys a little bit about just how to pull some meals together and just lead a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that, man. I think stuff like that, what you're doing, is going to make a much bigger difference than anything the government can ever do.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where it's going to start. It's going to have to
Thank
come
you.
from people that have woken up and then go out and help spread it.
Thank you.
That's going to make the biggest
Yeah,
difference.
and best of luck with the academy. It's such a brilliant idea, and you guys are doing awesome things. It's very cool here. If you guys, whoever's watching, if you guys check out Green Valley Window Tint, good stuff. Good people.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Really
We
enjoyed
appreciate
this.
that. We really appreciated them coming in and having a great conversation. Man.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You guys know how this works. Follow, subscribe. We appreciate all the views, anything you guys do, any interaction. See you next time.
Thank you. Make sure you follow Good Life Chef.
Good Life Chef.
Yep. And CrossFit too.
Social
Social
City
City.
Social City CrossFit.
Peace.